at home, have you been approached by a child about what's going on in Paris and asked if you can explain it, try to calm some concerns? I mean, I certainly have. So I imagine most of you have too. How do you address all of this? How do you explain it to a child? Let's talk to Dr. Amanda Gummer, a child psychologist. It's interesting, the First News, the paper for young people, is looking at this today. It is an important issue when something is dominating the news agenda like this, and it is very shocking and very disturbing. You can't leave children out of it altogether, can you? You have to address it somehow.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing is to understand the age of the child. Very young children, if it's happening on their telly, it's like it's happening in the next room or the next street. They don't really understand that some things that they see on television are sort of thousands of miles away. So when you're talking to young children, it's really helpful to put it in context and say, well, you know that how long it takes to get to Granny's. Well, this is 10 times as far away as Granny's. That kind of if you say it's thousands of miles away, they don't really understand the quantities. The other thing is to understand whether children are asking out of fear or curiosity, or whether it's just something that somebody said in the playground. So one of the best bits of advice I give parents is to ask them, why do you ask that? If a child says, is our terrorists going to come here, or are bad people going to kill daddy when he's at work in London, or whatever, those kind of questions, one of the best ways parents can buy themselves a bit of time and think of an answer is to say, what makes you say that? Where did you hear that? And it gives you an idea of whether this is something that's really playing on their mind and troubling them, or whether it's just a sort of, they're asking a question about something they've heard in the same way that they might ask, what's for tea?
And certainly when, they ask questions about why is this happening, who's doing this, and if you do have to explain that, one of the things I'm worried about is that they might become fearful of all Muslims if you bring that into the equation. So how do you get around that?
Yeah, I think it's difficult with young children because they want you to fix things, and they're very binary. So things are either right or wrong. You've got goodies and you've got baddies. As children get older, it's really important to put it in context, explain that it's a very, very small minority of people. The chances of it happening or that them being involved in it is very remote. What you don't want to do is promise things that you can't control. So saying, oh, it'll never happen here isn't helpful, because obviously you need that trust. You need the children to be reassured by you, and they need to believe you when you say things. But yes, it's about making sure that children, especially with things like access to social media as they get older, they're not jumping on bandwagons, they're not being hyped up and carried away by sort of playground opinion, and that they're able to talk to the parents. The most important thing is that they're able to talk to parents and ask simple questions and get honest, age-appropriate answers.
What about the basic approach, which people, you can understand them thinking, I'll take this, which is just keeping them away from it altogether, keeping the TV off, perhaps keeping the computer off, and just trying to blank the issue out in the home.
Yeah, and I think I can completely understand that approach. The issue
it's not possible though, is it?
Exactly.
Really?
The issue I have is if you have a child who hears a bit of news something in the playground, a conversation between their parents, something on the news, they have really vivid imaginations. You only need to see them playing with sort of role play and stuff to know how they can put 2 and 2 together and make 64 and get really worried and blow things out of proportion. So that's why the communication is so important. So if they do see something, yes, don't have it on all the time, don't sensationalise it, but if they do see it and they have questions, they need those answers, and if they're old enough to ask the questions, they deserve an answer.
Dr. Gummer, sound advice, thank you, as always nice to see you. Well, let's have a look through the papers for you this morning with financial analyst Louise Cooper and sports agent Michael Jarman. Morning once again, and actually